Well, hey, Efficacy, I'm DiLego. Thank you, Fiona Bloom, for inviting me to do this Q&A today, to listen to the mindless babble that comes out of my mouth. I recently put out an album, Magnificent Ram A, which is, I guess, why I'm here, to answer some of these questions and my thoughts on the matter. So, with that, here we go. Question 1 was, what are some of the highlights of my career? How to get those down to just a couple. Things like getting to play with Bruce Springsteen and stuff, which would, I think, top the list of anybody. Things like that. But people travel from one continent to the next and show up at a show and say, hey, you're never near this area, and I flew from, Montreal to come see you play, or London, and I know that that's like a high cost to them and stuff. And when I hear that before or after a show, it's probably the most satisfying thing, career-wise, that can happen. Let's keep my legs out of it.
I hesitate to use the word pasty, but that's
Tasty.
that's where we're at.
Color it. Well, if I could transport myself back in time anywhere as a recording nerd, confessed recording nerd, I'd probably like to get into those sessions just on the cusp of Brian Wilson losing his brains, losing his mind. But a lot of things that he was doing at that time are things that we hear people doing with Pro Tools today and in different software programs, things that are it's very easy to manipulate sound in the modern era. I mean, you probably could record a record on your phone and manipulate it significantly easier than what Brian Wilson was working with, which makes what he did all the more astounding. Of course, there were also recording budgets back then that we will never see again. Who would I like to have dinner with? Oh God, I'm gonna go good old Honest Abe. Why not? I seemed like a good man, did some good things. Lay it on me, Abe. Give me some good advice for how we're gonna get through the next 4 years. Let me first go on record as saying all opinions enclosed herein forthgoing are fairly ridiculous, considering the fact that it seems like an episode of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous as I'm sitting here in the Caribbean. But at what point did I know that I wanted to be an artist? I started doing this when I was 5, and I suppose at some point in my early teens, when I formed my first bands, it seemed inevitable that I was going to follow that, for better or for worse. It just sort of happens. You find yourself in it. I bet you that's probably what a lot of people would say who are artists. I'm guessing, but at some point you just kind of look around and you realize that you are in it. You are in it. Those decisions have sort of been made. Okay. What 3 things would I bring to a deserted island? Okay. Hammock. 1. Marty, how many have I done so far? 1. Okay.
Your drummer, Scott.
Not my drummer. I can't deal with that for the rest of all time. Fire starter, some sort of flint or fire starter. And let's go with Wilco being there. If I gotta have one to listen to, I can rotate that little double disc beauty in and out here and there. If I was going to be somebody who promoted a company with an ad campaign, what would that be? I want to be the spokesman for the Caribbean. Why not? I have a hell of a tan. When you think Caribbean, you think pasty Italian DiLego. So it's inevitable that I will be the spokesperson for this paradise. The alt country sounds of the Virgin Islands, DiLego. You be quiet. Alright, what is my favorite word? The pressure. Well, it's not a big word, but maybe I'll say my favorite word is reason. I just want the world to be reasonable. I want people to be reasonable. Just reason. It doesn't matter which side of the political fence you fall on, musical opinion fence you fall on. the commonality is reason. That's all. That's all I'm looking for. What are my words of inspiration to new artists? No one needs to hear from me on this. Nobody.
I think we have to do this one again.
Yep. Don DiLego back again at you. Okay, words of advice for new aspiring artists. First on the list, don't listen to anything Don DiLego has to say. That's the top of the list. B, pretty much what anybody would have to say in the matter is irrelevant if you were to ask 1,000 different successful artists their path to that success. There's going to have to be 1,000 different answers to that question.
Getting a little steamy out here.
Where do I shop for a suit? Wherever the closest Salvation Army is. What book am I reading right now? The same book I've been reading for the past year as I pick it up and put it down, but it would be Sapiens. I can't tell everybody enough to pick up this book. I won't even get into it because I'm nowhere near qualified to speak to the level at which the author does, but Sapiens just speaks to the sort of the Homo sapien race and how we've survived amongst all the other human races, and on, where we're headed, where we've been. I feel like a historical must-read. What else we have here? Who would I most like to collaborate with? I think when you've been doing this as long as I have, and also have a recording studio and you're producing, you often in your head get way too arrogant and way too above your pay grade and thinking you know what you're doing. In the last couple years, I've been working harder to kind of like break that wall. That's almost like something. It's like my therapy. Break that wall and realize that no, you do not understand this any more than anybody else. And I think the collaborative effort, though it's great to complete and finish a song on your own at times, and probably no greater satisfaction, especially if you feel like you did a good job. But collaborating can be amazing. And if you work with somebody that you trust, artistically and musically, they may just point out something that you can't see, even though it's right in front of your face. Who would I like to collaborate with? I've said it here before, I'm a big Jeff Tweedy fan, and I think his songwriting and lyrical skills are incredible. I would love to sit down, work that process out with him once for an afternoon, see what we could banter about. That'd be a good one.
Why haven't you done that?
Last question. Let's see. I wish Donald Trump blank.